Quédate para allá.
Vente hasta para acá. Vamos, acá.
Fuck.
What's going on, guys? I wanted to start this video off with a bang, which is why I showed a man getting killed inside a Walmart holding a bat. He seemed to be deranged and mentally ill, but still, he put the bat down and he walked away, and they still not only shot him, but shot him and then stood over him and shot him again. Whenever I see stuff like that, it makes me think of Dylan Roof, a white boy who shot up a Charleston church in South Carolina, killing everybody inside while they were praying. And then after he did that, they took him to Burger King, basically make sure he was perfectly fine and okay. While this man put a bat down and walked away, and they shot him in the back and stood over him and shot him again. He was mentally ill too, just like Dylan Roof, quote unquote. Even though every day is 420 around here for me, but it's my birthday, so happy 420 to everybody. Bernie Sanders has been making a couple of mistakes these past couple of weeks ever since he dropped out. He endorsed Joe Biden, and now he's putting his full entire weight and support behind Joe Biden in the media industrial complex. He's now part of the Democratic apparatus. This is what happens when you're inside the Democratic Party, because unfortunately, if you don't end up winning whatever it is contest that you're trying to do, you end up just joining their coalition and joining their apparatus, a never-ending change game, basically. That's ultimately what this is. So he was in a video chat with Joe Biden saying the reasons why he supports him and why we have to vote for him over Donald Trump. And as I said before, I want everyone to vote their conscience, because Joe Biden is just not it. He's not the candidate. He literally lies and he makes up things, and he has significant, immense amount of gaffes on television and various other networks that just quite frankly can't be ignored. But the media industrial complex and news pundits, you just watch their faces, they cringe while they're on television with this man while he's fucking up right there on the spot, knowing that he's going to lose to Donald Trump.
You know, there's a, during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that, was totally different than it's called, he called it the World War II, he had the War Production Board. Well, I don't know why we don't set up something like a pandemic production board. It's just, but you gotta, we gotta reassure, look, here, my message to everybody I talk to be doing now, I would really empower a supply commander. I've been talking about this for a while. A general or an admiral who has authority to, in fact, decide what the entire supply chain is. One of the people directing that and creating that Defense Production Act to get these things done, and then figuring out how to distribute it around the United States where they are needed. It's not the governor's responsibility to make those judgments. And the Defense Production Act for banks, to make sure. I talked with Stephanie Rule a week or so ago. What I've been worried about, and she and I talked about, is the fact they got to prioritize lending to small businesses. The mom and pop businesses are going to go out of business. They should be the ones who are making sure they're able to stay open. They're able to come back in and be in play. I mean, the outfit that has 4 employees, 10 employees, small businesses are under 500. That's important. I get that. But how about all those people in every town in America? You walk down Main Street and all those places are closed. What about those people? They need help. I'd establish a pandemic testing board to finally solve the testing problem. Literally a board set up to do nothing but get the product that is needed, the tests that are needed, the laboratories. I'd have the private and public laboratories collaborating to move rapidly on testing. And I'd open up an enrollment period for the Affordable Care Act. Give people the notion that you're not going to walk away from there.
And then Bernie, he did a video with Cardi B Not saying that it was wrong or anything like that, but he essentially did a video with Cardi B just because it's Cardi B trying to persuade the young generation, Generation Z, to come out and vote and put our full entire weight and support behind Joe Biden. That's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Because that 10 to 20% of your voters that stayed home last time, they're gonna do the same thing again this time. The blue wall theory does not work. It will not work. Hillary Clinton failed drastically, and yes, it was Hillary Clinton, and she's perhaps one of the most hated politicians of all time. But when Donald Trump starts to put these ads on television of Joe Biden fucking up and constantly over and over again on the campaign trail, and he's fucking up on a television broadcast with other news pundits that want him to do well and are setting him up to do well, and he still ends up fucking up, that's a problem. But Bernie, please don't do this to us. Please don't do it to us. But it's already too late because he's already begun. And he's going to start the campaign and use his platform for Joe, even though Joe wants none of the things that Bernie Sanders wants: a $15 minimum wage, canceling all student debt, universal basic income, Medicare for all, a clean, renewable energy sector. And then, of course, Barack Obama came out to endorse his friend Joe, Uncle Joseph Biden, who lies and is a gaffe machine and is just, quite frankly, a puppet by the Democratic machine, Barack Obama, and his whole entire apparatus, because he still has a hierarchy, oligarchic position within the Democratic Party, which is why they listen to him, which is why they all made this coalition to form around Joe Biden. It was all planned out and strategically rolled out, with Elizabeth Warren endorsing him, Bernie Sanders endorsing him, and then ultimately Barack Obama endorsing him. This was all just a strategic plan and set up after, of course, Bernie Sanders started to do poorly within the election, I should say. But here's the video of Joe Biden fucking up when he ran for president once before in the 80s, of him lying about his college scores and the university that he was at.
Questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
Joe's
Terrible, terrible. They realized it back then in the 80s, called him out on it. But yet, Barack Obama still picked him as his VP, probably knowing most of this, but only just to, like I said, cement that coalition within the Rust Belt. And they believe that same theory could work for Joe this time in this go-around, but like I keep saying, we are going to be disaffected by Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. I hate to say that about Bernie Sanders, but it's just the truth at this point in time. Like I said, he was someone who started this revolution, and yes, he brought us a long, 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 long way. But ultimately, he's just not the person that's going to bring it home. It's going to take, like I said, a progressive Trump, someone who's going to be on the offensive and attack and call out the Democratic machine, the media industrial complex, the military industrial complex, the prison industrial complex, things like the video I showed you at the beginning of this video of a black man being killed when ultimately he put the bat down and was surrendering, walking away. And they still shoot him and stand over him and shoot him again, while Dylan Roof, a white boy, can go shoot up a church and they take him to Burger King. Those are the things that I have a problem with in terms of this whole entire society and country. Uncle Joseph Biden is terrible. He's just terrible. Trump is going to eat him alive. And ultimately, hell, if Trump wins, he's doing leftist policies now just because we're in a crisis. Like I keep saying, vote for Congress, vote down ballot, vote for Democratic progressive candidates within the Senate and within the House. Keep him in check in that sense. And like I said, 2024, we have to elect a progressive champion, someone who's Trumpian-esque, someone who's going to be on the offensive and attack and call out the whole entire machine. That's what needs to happen. So ultimately, what am I saying? Another 4 years of Trump? Perhaps, maybe. That might catch the eye of everyone and show the voters who voted for Joe Biden, who were so enthusiastic about voting for him, show them that you can't prop up these candidates that are gaffe machines, candidates that are just a part of the whole entire political class and a political establishment You can't just prop them up and think they're gonna win. They did the same thing with John Kerry in 2004 against George W. Bush, a man who literally started the Iraq-Afghanistan war for no reason, just so the military-industrial complex can thrive. Dick Cheney, his vice president, was the CEO of Halliburton that was getting direct checks from the US government just because we were going to war in Afghanistan and Iraq for no reason. His father put Saddam Hussein in power for no reason, ultimately just to have democratic control over that region while still running things in the United States to advance the agenda of the oligarchies across our whole entire country that live on both coasts, including the Obama family themselves. That's what this all was about.